Please welcome to the stage one of our dinner chairs for the evening, Bill Osborn.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure really to be here this evening to present this evening's first Global Leadership Award to a person that I've known for over 45 years, Rick Waddell, the retired chairman and CEO of Northern Trust. Now, before I talk a little bit about Rick, I want to make a couple comments. One, I'd like everybody to acknowledge the leadership that Ivo Dalder has given to the Chicago Council. He's been an incredible leader for us. He speaks out, and I think everybody should listen carefully to what he says because he makes a lot of sense. And I think those of us that look at the world as more homogeneous and want to deal with different parts of the world, that's a message we need to get out there a lot more today. So, Ivo, for you, positive. Second, I'm not going to introduce Susan Schwab or Dave Miliband tonight, but I do know Susan well. Susan and I serve on the Caterpillar board, and there's a shout out to Caterpillar's table out there. And Susan, as a board member, I can just tell you, she is an incredible person who has a great deal of knowledge about the global activities around the world and has been wonderful as a board member and has really done a great job. And I know for not just Caterpillar, but Federal Express and Boeing and others that need your help. So Susan, congratulations to you. Now what I want to talk about is Rick Waddell. So this is a person that I go back a long way with. I guess you could say that I've known him as a rookie and I've known him as a home run hitter, okay? So I've seen him all the way through his career at Northern, and he is one of these people that early on in his career, he showed the leadership qualities that were going to make him eventually an outstanding CEO and a leader for Northern Trust. He's somebody that has epitomized how to think about strategy, how to think about people, how to motivate people, how to make certain we're thinking of the risks that are involved in the businesses and how to manage those effectively to be able to deal in a very complex world today, and particularly in a regulated environment like a banking institution is. And it's really incredible because a lot of people don't know about Northern Trust. They think of that as this building down on LaSalle and Monroe, institution founded in 1889, old heritage, old money, all that stuff. Well, listen, it's a lot different than that in the reality of what it is. And Rick has been one of the people that's made it that way. Now, you would probably not know this, but there are close to 20,000, we call them partners at Northern, but employees today. More than half of the people that work at Northern are outside the United States. Again, not a well-known fact. You would not think about that. We have 23 locations outside the U.S., and we literally do business around the world in some of the most interesting and challenging places, but they all have one thing in common, big pools of assets. Now what does that mean? That means lots of money there. And that's what Northern does there. And so it's a big effort to oversee all this and to interact with the people because Rick's had to go be the front person to engage with them effectively as a leader, to get involved in those countries with the regulatory environment, and to be able to be very successful. So he's really taken the company and expanded its global business. Today, it's over 40% of the net income of the company. So it's really done a great job. But that's not all about Rick Waddell. The other side of Rick is what he's done for this community. And I could sit here and I'll just list a few. I mean, I remember when he and Kate first got involved with the Cole Children's Museum. And it was a little place up in Wilmette, and they worked with Dolores Cole and raised the money, and Rick chaired the board and moved it to this brand new facility out in Glenview and really saw the place skyrocket in terms of its impact in the community. And he's done the same way. He's been very involved with the Urban League, The United Way, Rick's been a stalwart at the Art Institute. He's the head of finance there. He's kind of the treasurer and runs the money. He's been involved with the community trust as the banks have been, Chicago Symphony, Northwestern. He chaired the advisory board of Kellogg, the graduate business school at Northwestern. He's involved with Northwestern Memorial Hospital and just took over as head of the finance committee there. He's chaired the civic committee and the commercial club. He and Scott are kind of doing their dual roles there. He's been involved with the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. He's been on the Federal Reserve Advisory Council in Washington. This person has given back in ways that everybody should ever try to emulate in terms of how to think about the community. Because when you think about how an organization is going to be successful, it's merging people, strategy, clients, and community that makes it all work together. He's done the best job of anybody I know. I'm so pleased to really acknowledge him tonight and this award for him. It's very well deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Waddell.
He's always been a tough act to follow, and unfortunately I got to do it one more time. Bill, thank you for that very, very kind introduction. What he failed to tell you was each one of those organizations I was involved with was preceded with a phone call from Bill saying, you're going on the Art Institute board, you're going on the CSO board. Oh, by the way, you're a trustee at Northwestern University. That's how it worked, but I'm glad for those phone calls. I also just want to add my thanks to the dinner hosts, John and Mary Manley, for your long-standing support of this. I've been to a number of these, and I don't think we really express enough of our gratitude for what you do to make this such a special night. But I, again, want to say thank you and congratulations. Many of us have been dinner chairs, and Scott and Bill, your involvement here is extraordinarily generous, but your friendship to me is even more important. So I want to thank you for both, for being here tonight and helping to arrange a great, successful evening, but also for the support and friendship you've given me over the years. Thank you very much. I will also recognize my fellow honorees, Susan Schwab and David Millibrand. These are two inspired leaders who have had a positive impact literally on millions of people around the world. And I can't tell you how honored I am to be sharing this stage with you tonight, Susan and David. Congratulations for this special night for you as well. Now, someone I absolutely cannot forget to thank, and believe it or not, I've made this mistake before, is my wife, Kate. Bill mentioned. Catherine, we have shared an incredible journey together. This was a college romance that blossomed into a lifelong commitment grounded in faith, family, and friendship. And I can't thank you enough, Kate, for your steadfast encouragement, the deep wealth of wisdom that you have brought to our marriage to guide us over the past 43 years. In moments of when I'm feeling really confident, I would remind people that I was married to Northern Trust longer than I was married to my wife. But that actually this year flips. But Catherine, thank you. I love you. And finally, and again, of course, Bill stole all my thunder. I want to thank my partners who are here tonight. This is just a small sample. If you all would please stand up and be recognized. And I'll note that Mike O'Grady, my successor, is here tonight, the 10th CEO in Northern Trust's 130-year history. But I would not be here tonight if it weren't for these people and obviously Bill Osborn and the 20,000 Northern Trust partners around the world. Every day, these leaders live what we call our enduring principles of service, expertise, and integrity. And I give every day credit to Northern Trust partners for giving me the inspiration to be successful for 43 years at Northern Trust. It was not every day was a happy day, but I loved getting up and going to work at Northern Trust. And I couldn't have done it without all of you. I take great pride in the fact that Northern Trust has been living these values and giving back to the communities in which we live and work for over 130 years. I'm especially proud of the philanthropic support that the bank has provided globally of over $80 million over the last 5 years, $30 million of which went right back into the community here in Chicago. I'm extraordinarily proud of that. But I like to ask the question, why? Why do firms like Northern Trust and Abbott and ITW and Grosvenor and Loop Capital, the firms that you all represent here, why do families like the Knights, the Crowns, the Pritzkers, the Siegels, the Ryans, why do these successful organizations and individuals give back to Chicago? Well, the simple answer is the needs are great, and Chicago government and municipal state cannot shoulder the burden alone. Today, one of Chicago's greatest needs, as we all know, is addressing the very high levels of unemployment in our most neediest of neighborhoods. Did you know that 1/3 of Chicago's unemployed residents live in just 11 communities? Neighborhoods like Austin, Auburn Gresham, South Shore, North Lawndale, and Inglewood all have unemployment rates today that range from 18 to 35%. Can any of us imagine what it is like to live in one of these neighborhoods? As has been noted on the Commercial Club website, which Bill mentioned, where Scott and I are involved with, concentrated unemployment makes communities more vulnerable to crime, violence, and poor health and educational outcomes. Now, I believe an important key to turning this picture around is the powerful combination of a better educational system coupled with the opportunity to get and keep a job. And fortunately, with the help of leaders like Bill Osborn and Lester Crown and Andy McKenna and the Civic Committee and other civic leaders over the last 3 decades, Chicago has actually made incredible progress in turning the educational system around in this city. In fact, we're highlighted today as one of the most improved and improving public school systems in the nation. But where we're very hard-pressed to make more progress is on the unemployment front. Now, I happen to be a big fan, sorry, Evo, of a guy by the name of Arthur Brooks, who just stepped down at the American Enterprise Institute. And I love Arthur's quote, "If you hate poverty, you should love capitalism." Billions of individuals around the world have benefited from the free enterprise system and its foundation based on access to open markets, property rights, the rule of law, and entrepreneurship. The ideals and innovations of capitalism have been responsible for an historic reduction in poverty around the world, as people have built and grown companies that have benefited others, grown communities, and improved the lives for all of us. And that's why the Council on Global Affairs and your presence here tonight in support of the Council is so important and relevant to Chicago and the issues facing this city. The Council's mission, Sam touched on this, is to create an informed, engaged public with access to fact-based and balanced views, and to support a more inclusive, equitable, and secure world. Your presence here tonight highlights the leadership necessary to bring change to our city, to our state, and to our nation. And so I want to sincerely thank each of you for your leadership, for your support of the work of the Council, and for the honor you've given me here tonight. Thank you very much.